What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands On channel. Today we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. It's the size of 3 school buses, they say, and it was spotted initially flying over Montana. It's also been spotted in Canada, and it kind of makes me think this thing was released in Canada. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about the U.S. military is currently monitoring a suspected Chinese spy balloon flying over the continental United States of America. Now, supposedly, it's flying up so high that it's not interfering with any air traffic or anything like that, civilian or military air traffic. But nevertheless, the Biden administration is refusing to shoot the thing down for whatever reason. One excuse I heard was that they were afraid the debris would fall down and land on like a populated, city or something like that, causing damage to people. And okay, that's a viable argument, but there's plenty of barren land that's out there, farmland and stuff like that, where they could safely shoot this thing down. So I am not buying that, not one bit. And not only that, like my wife pointed out, why wouldn't we at least be escorting this thing? If it took helicopters or whatever to fly around and just monitor this thing. And it is a balloon. Now, I guess the helicopters probably can't get up that high. I don't know exactly where this thing is riding. Maybe it's higher than normal aircraft can go. I don't know. But nevertheless, in my opinion, this thing should be shot down. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I always love reading them. So let's read a few of these headlines here, and your mind could be blown just like mine is. China claims alleged spy balloon is a civilian airship researching weather. So nothing to worry about here. It's just a civilian airship. We're not doing anything wrong. I mean, after the COVID thing, right? After everything happened out of the Wuhan lab and all this stuff that we've learned since then, after going through the whole bull crap that we had to go through 2020 and 2021 and most of 2022, after all of that, do we trust the Chinese any farther than we can throw them? And for me, personally speaking, no. The answer is no. I'm not buying that this is just a weather research vessel. I don't buy it, not one bit. It's clearly a spy vessel. They saw this thing floating around above nuclear facilities in Montana. That's not a coincidence. The Pentagon says the Chinese spy balloon is expected to be over the U.S. for a few days. So they don't seem to be too worried about it. Some officials in Congress are calling to shoot down the alleged China spy balloon and take the shot, is what they're saying. Jim Jordan, I think's his name. He was the main one that I heard talking about that, and he's absolutely right. Next up here, shoot down the balloon. Trump calls for Chinese spy balloon to be shot down. And in this case, Trump is 100% right. He's on the right side of national security. Biden and his administration are, as always, on the wrong side of U.S. national security. I put a meme up earlier. It was like, maybe Montana needs to start flying a Ukraine flag so they can get, air defense from the Biden administration brought into Montana. I don't know. Unbelievable. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. This is so clown world and so backwards from the way the United States of America is supposed to be. As I've stated many times in many of my other videos, this is being done by design intentionally to bring the United States down. I mean, for one thing, what could this spy balloon have in it? What if it's not just a spy balloon? What if it's like dropping little droplets of, biological weapons? Maybe they've developed some new super strain of COVID over there in China, and they're dropping that all over the United States. Who knows? I'm just speculating. It's up high enough in the atmosphere, it could have been equipped with an EMP. What if it took down our entire power grid? Or what if this is a test balloon that China is sending out to see what we'll do? And next time they know we won't shoot it down, they'll just equip it with their highest tech EMP and they could take our entire power grid down. I mean, unbelievable threat against our national security, and Biden does nothing. Pentagon refuses to shoot down suspected Chinese spy balloon hovering over Montana for days. Forecast. Air currents to take China spy balloon over the U.S. heartland, key naval bases, and Biden refuses to shoot it down. Unbelievable. In the past, this alone would have initiated an impeachment hearing, a trial, whatever. I mean, this guy ought to be impeached. This guy has no business being anywhere near the seat of POTUS, the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. What a joke they've turned it into. I guess the dog-faced pony soldier, that's probably one of the reasons why, we can't get the military to engage an obvious threat to the United States security. China spy balloon spotted over Metro St. Louis, miles from Scott Air Force Base. So they're just seeing everything that they want to see. They're able to see anything that we've got going on our major military bases, our infrastructure, our system, how we're, they're monitoring our border closer than Biden is monitoring our border. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Breaking news. Biden must have sanctioned the China flight over the U.S., says former RAF and commercial pilot. And this was a great article. You should go read this. This former RAF pilot was basically saying that because of the way NORAD works and all this stuff, there is no way that they couldn't have known about this sooner when it first came into U.S. airspace, or it must have been sanctioned. That's what this guy was saying. And, would you put it past Biden? What if he had some deal with Xi Jinping and, with his son Hunter and all the connections they have over there to China to allow this to happen? What if Biden actually gave the permission for this to happen and that's why they're not shooting it down? I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating, but it's very interesting. Check this out. Pentagon Spock says China spy balloon is maneuverable. So this thing's not just floating around with the wind. They're directing it to go where they want it to go. And it just so happened to hover over military nuclear facilities in Montana. That's a big national security risk. So the Pentagon won't say where it is now over the U.S. and tells concerned Americans they can go look out in the sky and see it there in the sky. Yeah, screw you. National Weather Service posts photo of China spy balloon over Missouri as Pentagon stonewalls on location. What would be the advantage of the Pentagon not coming clean about this and saying, hey, we have this thing monitored down to the inch. We know exactly where it is. We can kind of figure out from where it's going, what it's doing, because it is maneuverable. So they're clearly flying this thing. So what's Biden doing about all this stuff? I mean, surely when the press asks him questions, he's going to answer them to the best of his ability and tell people, don't worry, right? There's nothing to worry about. It's just a weather balloon, right? We're not going to shoot it down. What did he do? He turned his back on reporters, refusing to answer questions about the Chinese spy balloon making its way across the USA. Yeah, just like he always does. Anytime he gets asked an uncomfortable question about, what's on Hunter's laptop or the whole deal with Ashley's diary and on and on and on, Biden turns on his heel. Or any national security issue, he turns on his heels and walks away without answering any questions. Or he's pulled away by his handlers. And let's just talk about for a minute some of the things that they could be doing. And I'm not saying any of this stuff is necessarily, for certain or what this first balloon is equipped with, but I really do believe this is a trial balloon that China is sending out to see what they can get away with. Joe Biden is probably going to let them get away with it, and that's going to tell them they've got the green light to do this as often as they want in the future. And here's a reminder. Japanese used balloons to disseminate chemical and biological weapons in World War II. So this is old technology. The Japanese figured it out in World War II and used chemical and biological weapons. Now, am I saying that this balloon is actually going to do that? No, it probably isn't. Again, it's a trial balloon to see what they can get away with. And Biden is going to give away the store. He's already told Xi Jinping this, I'm sure, in private meetings, that anything that the Chinese want, they will get from the United States of America as long as Joe Biden is sitting in that office. It's a clear and direct violation of his duties to the Constitution, his duties to the United States citizens, the American people. It's clearly, I don't know if it's treason or not, but it's definitely skating on the edge of that. So I don't see a way that Biden comes out of this clean, especially if he doesn't shoot it down. It's going to automatically make everyone, even people that are pro-Biden, think that something's up. This is not normal. I mean, could you imagine the compare and contrast? What would Donald Trump have done if he had been reelected or if this had happened back during his term? He already said today he would have shot it down. And I believe that. It's a national security risk. Whether they say it's for weather or not, what do they care about our weather over here? Shouldn't they be flying weather observation balloons over their own place so they can figure out what's going to happen there? Or maybe the areas around them, not the United States of America on the opposite side of the world? I mean, I ask you, could this balloon be equipped or outfitted to deliver an EMP or some new super strain of COVID? Even if it's only being used for spying on our military and nuclear facilities, it's still a threat to national security. That's the point. It's a threat to national security. And all administrations that I'm aware of from the past would have shot the thing down. This guy that's in there now is doing it a lot differently. He's allowing it to stand and blaming things like worried about hurting civilians. And again, there's so many rural areas out there where they could drop this thing out in the middle of nowhere where it wouldn't be any houses around, no people around, just empty fields and forests and stuff like that. That excuse doesn't fly with me. There's no way that they couldn't figure this out. The military's been doing this for a long time. And if nothing else, like my wife said, why aren't they escorting this thing and flying planes all around it so that we'll know that at any moment when the president gives the order, they can hit the button and, a couple of rounds from a, 20 millimeter machine gun or something would take that thing down. It makes no sense unless you're in the pocket of Xi Jinping. And that's what I'm accusing Biden of and the Biden administration. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. Is this as big of a deal as I'm making it out to be? I think potentially, not this one, but the next one could be used to deliver chemical or biological weapons and or an EMP. And this is a trial balloon to see if they can get away with it. So far, Biden is indicating, yes, they can get away with it, and they will do it again. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. I mean, to me, this is the biggest national security threat, other than the United States border, the southern border being kicked wide open. This is the biggest national security threat that I can think of since back to 9/11. This is a big deal. Big, big deal. With all the talk going on at the World Economic Forum and their cyber polygon and all this other stuff that they want to do to basically take the entire grid down, this could be used as an EMP delivery system, and that probably scares me more than anything else because you want to see people start killing each other. Instant chaos, instant Armageddon. I can only imagine what it would be like if vast sections of the United States, if not all of the United States, were taken out by an EMP. And I would argue that if that were the case, we're probably 2 weeks away from cannibalism. Probably 1 week away from roving gangs of marauders coming around and stealing stuff from other people that are well prepared. We're probably a few days away from just all-out chaos, riots, looting, burning of cities, all this other stuff that seems to be the direction that they're pushing, especially the urbanites that live in our country. When they can't get power and they realize that they can't go out to their well and get water, or they can't use the restroom anymore because the sewer's not working anymore, and where other people out in the country still have those things, guess where they're coming? They're coming for the suburbs. They're coming for the suburbs first and then the country second. So might be a good idea to prep up. And when I say that, I mean ammo, lots of ammo. Know how to use those things. Know how to use those tools that you're going to have to depend on to save your own skin. We have never been in more dangerous times as a country, in my opinion, since back to the American Revolution. This is the most dangerous president we've ever had. How did this happen? How did this happen to our United States of America? Appreciate you tuning in. I stand for liberty to the bitter end. I hope you do too.